First of all, Flint is a city that you have to escape. There's, and I'm just being real. You have to escape that city. Because there are a lot of reasons why your dreams get killed. You're talking about a factory town with a mentality where if you wanted to say, I was like, I want to be an artist, and it's like, no, get to the factory. Anytime you kind of went left, when everyone was going right, you were like, oh no, you're the pariah, you're the guy. Right. And it was really a thing where you had to learn to go against the grain. Yeah. And I learned at a very, very young age that you just have to stand up and kind of jump out of the fray. But also because that whole system was dying all around me. And then you're talking about the crack epidemic, which I grew up in. Friends were dying around me. And then you're talking about all those dynamics all happening at once. The city dying, crack, drugs, killings, shootings. It was not a fun place to be. And I knew I had to go. And football was my way out. But now, going to where I'm looking at now, when I'm on TV with some of the biggest stars in the world, in the biggest movie in the world. People in Flint can't even believe. They're like, dude, I grew up with him. I can't believe he made it out. And not only made it out, but to be doing what I'm doing, it's the height of appreciation. There's no end to my thankfulness. I'm just blessed, and I look at it as something that I can never take lightly. I always have to just stay in a mode of appreciation and never entitlement, because I was never entitled, and you're not. It's about the effort. It's about what the work is, and then watching Sly and Arnold and Bruce and all these guys on the set, I realized that they had the same attitude. They work like crazy. The effort that Sly puts in is as if he never did a movie before. You know what I mean? And you watch that and you realize that's how they made it. That's who they are. That's how they got where they are. And it's an amazing thing.
Randy, does that ring bells for you? I mean, coming from your background as a professional athlete and in a brutal sport, you have to have discipline. You've got to have, all the things that can get you up and get you in that ring every day. Do you take that away or that experience away and bring it to the film set?
Well, I think there's definitely a bunch that translates from the character I developed through 40 years in an individual combative sport, which started for me at 10 in wrestling, and then carried me into fighting and a 15-year fighting career. So I think there's a discipline there. There is a sense of being in the moment. I mean, when there's somebody standing across the cage that's going to kick you in the face, you're pretty much nowhere else. You are right there, and I think you have to do that in acting. Being coachable, being able to listen to your coaches, listen to your teammates, your workout partners, those guys that fashion you, mold you, make you the athlete that you are. That's Terry. That's my co-stars that are in those scenes. They're helping shape and mold and make this movie together. It's the same type of thing. So there are a ton of things that parallel my athletic career that now carry me over into acting, for sure. And working with Stallone and those, I mean, it's got to be mind-blowing walking on that set, because we're all roughly the same age. I'm a little older than you guys, but I grew up with those movies, and I can only imagine, because it's not like I might have a scene, in an entire movie, in a regular movie, you might have one scene with Stallone, and then you never even meet Bruce Willis, because he's an old. But this one, everyone's on set the whole day. I mean, it must be. Was it intimidating for you on the first one, and then maybe that? I don't know if that held over for this one or not. Well, I think we all felt kind of a sense of honor to be part of this whole thing. We knew, I think, from Sly on down, pulling this off and feeling like it was something very, very unique and very special, having all these guys together, and then for us to be a part of that was just something. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was pinching myself half the time. But then, everybody asks us, well, who's the biggest diva? Who's, and like Terry said, you're looking at a bunch of guys that they showed up ready to go. There was no ego. There was no horse shit.
Right.
They worked. They were there to do their job. They know what it takes, and they were there to get it done. And that sets the tone. if those cats aren't throwing a fit and saying, "Oh, that's my coffee's not right. Where's my twist of lemon?" and all the kind of horror things that you hear about huge stars, I've yet to meet one like that, and I don't. I think if there had been one on this set, he probably would have got his ass wrung out.
That's true.
And Sly would have rewrote the script, and that guy would have gotten thrown out of the plane, or
somebody would have got blown up real good.
It just wouldn't have flown. It just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, well, you get a sense of that in the movie. Like, there's a really fun camaraderie that I think is real. Like, everyone's here. You're working with professionals, you're professionalized, but there's a real sense of camaraderie that comes through in the movie, and I think that's important, because if you don't have that in this film, it's not going to work.
Oh, it's done. It's done. And we're a fraternity. I mean, it's a very, very honorable place to be when you look at this movie and you look at that poster, and you just go, wow, it's an honor, and it's almost like a badge. I'll be an expendable for life, and every member of this team it's like we're a real team, and we have real gifts, and it's kind of weird because we really are these characters in a lot of ways, and when you put us together, we're more than we are on our own, and it's just something that we know it's just too important. It's just too important to goof around with. You look at when Jean-Claude showed up on that set, and you realize that this man, he wants a way back. Yeah. You know what I mean? This is his biggest. He's like, he's just as excited as we are, and he's like, I don't want to mess this up. Right. You look at Chuck, who comes in, he wasn't walking around like whatever. He was like, I want to make this an incredible movie. It wasn't lost on us. We knew we were making history. Yeah. That's the thing. And it was like, how will you be remembered? I didn't want to be remembered as the weakest link, And Sly had a great. He would always, let us know, take your moment, take your time. This is your time, and he was like, the way he would write it, like, no, Randy, I want you to say this, I want you to come with this, and he was our biggest cheerleader, man. He wanted to see everybody shine. We never felt like he was trying to put somebody over here, like, well, you're just okay. Right. It was like, man, be big, do your thing, and it was great feeling.
Well, from what I heard, it's you guys doing your own stunts, doing all that stuff because of your size and physicality and stuff. Was it that they couldn't find people to be your doubles?
Very true.
Is that the truth? Yeah.
That is for him. I mean, we're going to find a double that. It ain't going to happen.
I mean, there were guys who could not do Randy's moves. I mean, we had a guy. Randy actually knocked out a stuntman on the set, and he didn't mean to. Right. But
how did that happen?
I had one scene in the airport. Where we're taking on the Sangs, and this guy comes at me with a pistol. I take the pistol in his arm and swing him around, throw him over my head, and he's supposed to go into a shelf in the VIP lounge, and then fall to the floor. And we did like 6 takes, and every take went good. Finally, the 6th take, I threw him, and his boots hung up on the shelf, so his body weight stretched him out, and instead of landing on his back, which was padded, he landed on top of his head. And he did look dead when he that's probably the take they used. But he woke up and he was like, "Oh, did I ruin the scene?" I was like, "Oh, it pretty much looked perfect."
Stuntmen are the toughest people. Like you guys are working on a very high level. Then you see stunt guys who are frankly nuts. I think, right?
Well, like I said, we were hard to double. But so one thing they did was put the most talented stunt guys around us who could take anything we had to dish out. I mean, I remember kicking a guy right in the face, and he took one right to the face with my big boots and everything, man. And everybody was like, whoa! It was that moment, and then he just got up like, I'm good. And you're like, whoa! I mean, and it's a thing where they know what this is, but we bonded with those guys too. I mean, and we had some stuntmen get hurt on the set and the whole thing, and we had one guy who actually lost his life, and it was one of those things where we got to do this in honor of these people who are giving everything they have. This is our life. Mm-hmm. Entertainment right now is everything I do, And people have no idea how much commitment it takes to actually make a great film. They think we don't sit around just popping bottles and hanging out, and you know, it's not at this level.
Yeah.
It might be that way on some little indie DVD movie, but not here. It's all, everything is counting on everything.
Well, it's interesting. I like what you bring to it because, and the newsroom too, which I've been watching, because you're playing a character who physically looks like one thing, but there's always a lightness to it, right? You bring some humor to it that is maybe a little unexpected. Yeah. And I see that in the Expendables. It's certainly on the scene you had last night in the back and forth with Jeff Daniels as your he wants to go into get an appointment with the psychiatrist when he doesn't have one. And you've got some great lines, and it's zingy. It's back and forth. It's a quick scene, but it's funny. And you don't expect that from a character who is playing the bodyguard or a guy with, you know, that gun in his hand.
Well, see, that's what Sly built for all of us. I think you know, where you would expect to see Randy just flip people and run around, he made a whole great story for Randy, and the sensitivity of his ear, and you know, and you know what? It's kind of we play like a family. Yeah. It's more like a Brady Bunch. You know, we're kids at the back of the car hitting each other. Hey, no you, and
Dad, he's touching me.
Yeah, that's the dynamic. You know what I mean? And but see, that makes everybody go, they're human. Right. They're human beings. We're not monsters, and we're not like just badass. Yeah. You know, nobody's a badass all the time. You know, when watch a badass get sick and he's a whiny little wuss. That's just true.
Did you get hurt at all?
No, I had no owies.
No
owies through the course of the movie, thankfully. Knock on wood.
Yeah. How long does it take to shoot? Like the scene in the airport is massive. I mean, I don't want to give anything away, but man, it goes on for 15 minutes like that. Yeah. And does that take weeks to shoot, or how does that work?
That took weeks to shoot that scene, and several different locations.
With 2 different crews.
Yeah.
Remember that?
And first unit and second unit, which is 2 full, completely different crews. Yeah. It was. There was a lot of scenes like that, though. That opening scene that took weeks.
Huge.
And a couple different locations for that as well. So.
This movie seems bigger than the first one,
much
right?
bigger.
Yeah, and like you, I think it was you that said earlier today, you blew up Bulgaria. Yeah, and it's
basically true, which is why we shot there. I mean, we couldn't have made this movie the way we made it anywhere else. Yeah. And I mean, the baby basically gave us run of the country, certainly run of Sofia. Yeah. You know, the capital city. We were all over that town, and several others. Yeah. So it was great.
I think this is the movie Sly wanted to make originally. Right. You know, with the budget constraints and the scheduling constraints of the first one. I mean, Arnold was the governor. He could only do his scene on a Sunday. You know,
with Bruce Willis too.
Right. Yeah, right. We weren't involved. You know, we didn't even see. We weren't even around. Yeah. Now it was like Sly's like he got the, you know, after the first one was a bona fide hit, the studio opened the coffers and made sure everything worked the way he wanted it, and he was much happier. And like I said, I think this one is what he intended.
Right. Do you guys know what? Because there's going to be a third one. Have you heard of it? Have you heard anything?
We've heard the same rumblings that everybody else has heard, and we suspect there's going to be a third one too. But we haven't seen a script. We haven't heard a date. We haven't heard anything definitive. Just that they're working on it.
Yeah.
I'm there no matter what they do. I'm so proud. Being a part of this, you know, making a movie is a miracle. Having the movie be a hit is a bigger miracle. And coming back and doing a sequel is yet another one. So, you know, you got to ride this. You got to ride it because, you know, when you think they're making Iron Man 3, they're doing how many Batman did they make? You know, it's one of those things where when the people want it, they'll tell you. And so far, we're getting all signs saying we want more. I'll give it to them.
I think you got to bring in Jesse Ventura for the next one.
You know what? That's a good one. That would be great. Yeah? But see, you can take it. It can get bigger. We were talking earlier. Jackie Chan. We're talking Wesley Snipes, Steven Seagal,
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson. That would be a killer villain. You know what I mean?